All right, Earl Ofari Hutchinson here. Welcome to another edition of, let me straighten my collar. Welcome to another edition of Hot Topic Sunday. Let me pan a little bit. I always like to pan IHOP where we are. The corner of Stocker and Crenshaw in the Leimert Park area of Los Angeles. Vino, say hi.
Hello.
All right, my sidekick here, breakfast partner, and he'll be chiming in a minute. All right, Don Lemon. Don Lemon's in the news, probably for a reason he, if he had a choice, would not want to be in the news for. He got arrested. Why? He got arrested in Minneapolis, a church covering anti-ICE, interviewing people there. Trump didn't like that. You know, his lackey, Pam Bundy, U.S. Attorney General, went deep into the closet on that. What can we charge this guy with? What can we make an example? Use him as an example. You know, the assault on the media, the attack on the media, the Trump going after the media. Well, Don Lemon, you know, still a visible guy, high profile. Make an example out of it. A show trial. You know, the old Soviet Union thing, show trials. Well, he was a show arrest. So, as a result of that, what we have a case. Now, I looked at the statute. I said this. Let me back it up for a second. You know, Vino, I've heard of arrest on flimsy charges. I've heard of people being arrested on trumped-up charges. I've heard of people being arrested on ludicrous charges. Ludicrous. I've heard of people being arrested on silly charges. But I've never heard of anyone being arrested on no charge. They didn't have a charge against him. Just grab the guy. Well, they finally dug deep. The attorneys, they dug and dug. They burned the midnight oil. What can we charge this guy with? Well, they did. Came up with something that you're interfering with a religious service. You know, God, anybody in America ever been charged with that? Who goes in to interfere with a religious service now? I mean, that just doesn't happen. Well, it happened with Don Lemon. They figured out something with him. You knew they were going to go after him, and they did. All right. So my question is, you got Lemon being led away, came to L.A. for the Grammys, partying away, you know, in Beverly Hills, and to about 11 o'clock, the FBI showed up, handcuffs, slapped them on Don Lemon. Question: why is Don Lemon important? You know, on my Facebook page, I did note one thing of, you know, I had a lot of haters there. A lot of people don't like Don Lemon. I'm not talking about the mega crowd. I'm not talking about them. We know Trump, mega, we got that. I'm talking about a lot of African Americans don't like him. And they took shots at him. I heard things like stupid. I heard things like, you know, exhibitionist. I heard things like he broke the law, whatever the law was, going into church and doing an interview. That's what he does. He's a journalist. But in any case, people took shots. So having said all of that, a number of things on the table. One, Lemon, celebrity, journalist, freedom of the press, First Amendment, Homeland Security, paranoid about everything, defensive about everything. ICE, we know about them. Trump, do we know about him? A show arrest and a show trial. Don Lemon will be in court the second week of February in Minneapolis, having to answer charges. Many people have said, well, you know, he's got deep pockets. Doesn't matter. It's going to go away. Doesn't mean anything. It's just about theater. Well, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure about that. Anyway, your thought on that. Why is Don Lemon important? That's the question for the morning. Who's going to be the first in the door? Vino, I think you're going to be the first in the door. But before I do that, let me have a sip of Java to get my day going and my morning going. Don Lemon, once again, what did you think when you saw this? Don Lemon, of all people, being led away by the FBI, a federal warrant for his arrest, federal case, by the way, being led away in handcuffs. Don Lemon, 60 years old, Not a young guy, been out there for a while. Celebrity, well known, highly thought of in many, many circles. But nonetheless, it happened. It can happen to him, it can happen to anybody, so they say. So your thoughts, again, about Don Lemon. Why is he important? Or is he important? Are you paying attention to Don Lemon and the drama that's going on with the Trump administration, Homeland Security, ICE, and the protests? Your thoughts on that this morning. Once again, I always like to take a hat off, in this case, a hat off to the first one in the door with the comment. Well, we got the first one. Vino, somebody beat you to it this morning. Buddy Sampson. Buddy, welcome to Hot Topic Sunday. Buddy. Here's Buddy. Vino, here's Buddy's comment. It was an assault on the First Amendment and an attack on, let me see, on all journalists. Okay, let's walk it through. Assault. I'm looking at operative words here. Assault. First Amendment. Attack. All, not some, but all journalists. Flesh it out a little bit, buddy. Specifically, how was it an attack? Why is it an attack? What's Trump up to? Because, let's face it, Bundy, Attorney General, so-called, masquerading as an Attorney General, a lackey, masquerading as an Attorney General, she would not make a move, would not even blow her nose without looking over her shoulder at Donald Trump. So he had to okay it. You know, Trump has been with Lemon, I should say, not John Lemon, in this case, Don Lemon. You know, Lemon attacked him, during his years at CNN. He played up Trump a lot, took shots at him. And Trump didn't like that, although it helped him. Should have applauded Lemon. And CNN, I always said CNN elected Trump. Every other thing during the first go-round. CNN loved Trump. They knew he was good for ratings. They knew he was good copy. And they played him up. Yeah, they attacked him, but it didn't matter. You're still talking about him. All right. So, buddy, they've had this little drama. Trump never forgot. And, the first opportunity he had, and he had that in Minneapolis. Let me go after the guy. Why not? A show arrest. That's what it is. And the show won't be a trial, but show charges. I don't get that far. So, talk to me, buddy, about this First Amendment. How is it, specifically, in the case of Don Lemon, what did he do that essentially was his First Amendment right, and that Trump, Bundy, the Justice Department objected to? All right, Paula, welcome to Paula. You're a regular, and we love you for it dearly. If we didn't have you, we didn't have anybody. No, I'm only joking. You're here. Good morning, Earl. Good morning to you. Buddy, okay. What he's doing is attacking the media to further his agenda. You are exactly right. CNN played him up. Well, it was really not a love-hate. They had a nice tag team during his first go-round. CNN producers and management figured out early on, this guy has good copy. So, great copy. We're going to play him up, and they did. Yeah, they attacked him. It doesn't make any difference. The ancient thing, I don't care what you say about me, but say something, or the other thing I love. Say whatever you want. Just spell my name right. All right. So, look what happened. CNN, their ratings went up with Trump. That translates out into advertising and dollars. They said, we got a cash cow. Enter Don Lemon. Lemon the same. We got a cash cow. In fact, his ratings went up every time he played up Trump. Don't get rid of he was criticizing him. That's not the point. You're still talking about him. And remember, in the world of PR and promotion, if you're not talked about, in fact, I always say this. I worry not about when I'm criticized or talked about badly, raked over the coals. I worry when I'm not talked about. All right, we got Tony Briggs. Tony, all right. Happy February, Earl. Let me pronounce it correctly. All right, Tony. Don Lemon should get the gas chamber. Wait a minute. Let me see here. Okay, bear with me, Tony. This one I got to know. Should get the gas chamber for being obnoxious all these years. Talk to me, Tony. Why? What was obnoxious? What, in your opinion, that turned you off? Why was he obnoxious? Buddy, back again. And Don Lemon was part of it. Don Lemon even admitted that Trump was good for ratings. Of course he was. Anybody could see that. Paula, exactly. All right, Vino, you ready? All right, Vino, your thoughts. Don Lemon, why is he important?
Why is he important? I think the reason why he's being attacked is because I think Nicki Minaj was going at it with him, and then I think when he had Nicki Minaj, I think because Nicki Minaj is a Trump fan, so and I think that she's been in the news lately too, and I think that's the reason why he's being attacked, because I think he spoke out against Nicki Minaj, So that's what I think, he's the reason why he's being attacked.
Don Lemon?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Vino, thank you. And you brought in another element I hadn't thought of. Nicki Minaj. Yeah, she's been there. Okay, so if you're just joining me on Hot Topic Sunday, I'm your host, Earl Ofari Hutchinson, live from IHOP. Stocker and Crenshaw. One morning, come on down. And by the way, just a little commercial break here. Vino, did I give you a copy of my new book?
Yeah.
Did I give it to you? Okay. All right, we have my latest. You can get it on Amazon. We'll probably have another free reading. The ICE shooting scorecard. They're gunning everybody down. The shootings are going to continue. I talk about it, walk you through the history of that. The ICE shooting scorecard. It's available on Amazon. We've had free reads, and we'll have a few more. All right. So I need you to essentially, if you get a chance, pick it up. Russ, how you doing, man?
It's all good.
All right, pick it up. But we're talking. Okay, Russ, you're right on time. All right, Russ. All right, we're talking Don Lemon this morning. And let me kind of recap for a lot of people are weighing in on this, so Russ, and I want you to weigh in. I'm asking the question this morning. Is Don Lemon important? No. Why is Don Lemon important? So I walked through in my opinion, well, actually, not why it's important. I'm leaving it to you to tell me. Well, I got the First Amendment. I got freedom of the press. He's a show guy. I got the celebrity, African American, high profile. Trump doesn't like him. Vindictive. I got all of that. And we're getting good comments on that, and I like that. So, let me see, Buddy. So, Vino, he picked up on what you said. I'm reading the comment now. Pretty much Nicki Minaj miscalculated. The gold card, I don't know what that is.
She gave him a gold, Trump gave Nicki Minaj a gold card. Trump gold card. Trump gave Nicki Minaj a gold card.
What is this gold card? What is that?
Trump gold card. Like I said, being loyal to Trump. It's like
A card that can get you everything.
Okay, you got me on that one. I don't follow. Okay, let me keep reading. The gold card. De la mañana. El hombre anciano. Recuerde. Pero un diferente discusión. Muy tostado. Discusión. No sé. Tostadas muy quemando. Los huevos japoneses muy suave y quemado. But the pavo. Yeah, no bacon. Sausage. Es diferente. Muy tostado.
Sausage turkey.
Exactamente. Okay, so Buddy is saying the gold card she was presented was disavowed, Vino, was disavowed by the White House. Trump played her. Okay, all right. Tony Briggs. Lemon turned into an activist, but keeps saying he's a journalist. So, Tony, you're saying he's not a journalist? Now, Tony, but he was in the Minneapolis church, and he was interviewing the minister there. And apparently, he's an independent journalist ever since, got canned by CNN. So he's been out there. He's got his own YouTube show, and he's very popular, and he's doing journalistic things. So you're saying he's not a journalist? What do you base that on? All right, Tony, let's get a response. If the people had certified documents, there would be no need for the protests. Okay, Russ, you had a minute. You want to? Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, I'm asking you, Russ. Let me make a little space here. I got Russell McGlynn here, my cut buddy, and wouldn't be a Sunday without him. And Vino. Okay, Russ. Actually, I'm asking a lot of people, and people are weighing in. You know, it's a hot topic. Don Lemon, of course. Why is he important? Why do you think he's important? And let me do a little add-on to this. Will he continue, in your opinion, Russ, to be important? You know, oftentimes, you know, the cameras are there, and boom, you get a hit for a minute, and then boom, you move on. But in this case, will Lemon kind of stay out there? And why?
I think he will stay out there. And the reason is because he's been a quality journalist for a long time. And you got to remember, Trump and his group are nipping at the corners of everything. Everything they nipping at the corners. And so we can't let this slide because somebody else will be next. Somebody will be next.
Okay, now, Lemon will be in court on February 8th in Minneapolis. They came up with some arcane charges. I've never seen. They had to dig deep on that one, but they did.
Yeah,
they did. So, if you were projecting going ahead, how do you think this would play out legally going forward at the court? Will they drop the charges? Will it be there, or will they just string it out?
You know what? They're going to string it out as much as possible.
They'll milk it.
Yeah, they'll milk it. Only because these are people in there fighting for what Trump feels he wants to get done. So, and they'll all look foolish, but they can't do anything else about it.
Russ, I'm not so sure they'll look foolish. Let me tell you why. I don't know if you saw the survey, a very authoritative survey, and I posted it on my Facebook page. 57, almost 60% of Americans approve of ICE. 60% of Americans in the latest survey said ICE is on the right track. Do not interfere with ICE. Now that's, we're not talking, you know, a minority. We're talking the other America.
Okay.
Wait 1 second, Bino. I have to keep reminding people, Russ, and I have to remind both of you. I think I'm going to have to be the stern taskmaster this morning. What you see in Los Angeles, what you see in Chicago, what you see in Minneapolis, follow me with this, what you see in San Francisco, what you see in Washington, D.C., what you see in Philadelphia, what you see in New York, what you see in Boston, it's not America. You go to Missoula, Montana, you go to Peoria, you go to Erie, Pennsylvania, you go anywhere in the South. Are you following me?
Yeah.
Are you following where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm not sorry. That's another America. See, we live in a little vacuum in L.A. You know, we see people all out in the street doing things. And we get the impression that's America. It's not. It's not. Oh, okay, back to Don Lemon. I'm not so sure that's the case. And I'm not so sure they're going to look foolish because Trump has got the majority of America that counts behind him. Whether we like it or not, and we don't, ICE basically is an institution. It is a federal agency. All the stuff I watched this week about cutting their budget, it's a dog and pony. So you're jerking the people off. Yeah. You're not going to cut it. Matter of fact, not only did they not cut it, guess what they did? They increased it. All right, Vino.
Yeah.
You want to say for the record?
I was going to let you know that the vote card was basically an immigration fast pass.
A what?
1 million immigration fast pass. I guess because since Nicki Minaj is an immigrant.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, I got it now.
It's called,
I forgot that.
It's
all right.
It's a new immigration visa, I guess. Something like that.
All right, something like that. All right, Sherman Lynn, welcome. We got a few more people I want to thank. Paula? Okay, Paula. Okay, gotcha. I got a ton of people that came in. Let me go back to Buddy again. Buddy, Trump has, I'm going to read a couple of comments, Russ. Trump has an elite club in which members pay $1 million to join. Nikki Clay, we'll go back to Nikki again. She got it for free. Okay. Let me go to Tony Brace. Tony, Don Lemon, a quality journalist. What a joke. He doesn't agree with you, right? What a joke. Buddy elite. Okay. So, we come down to this. I happen to agree with Russ that they'll milk it, they'll stretch it out. You know, they'll play it for all it's worth. It's like the old Soviet Union when they had Stalin, when they had show trials.
Yeah.
Well, John Lemon is a show arrest.
Exactly.
He's a show, not a show trial. There won't be a trial,
Right.
but a show indictment.
Right.
I don't even know if he was indicted. Yeah, no, he was indicted.
Yeah.
You know, probably I'm guessing Russ, in a kind of a dark mood, probably the happiest man in the world was Don Lemon. Don Lemon. You know why? Because Don, you know, ever since they canned him at CNN, Don has kind of been on the periphery. Now, guess what?
He's kicked up to the top.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
He got press that money couldn't buy now. Don Lemon, matter of fact, he said, thank you, Trump. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Especially doing his job and doing what he loved. Not nothing stupid, you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was a perfect storm for him.
Exactly.
Journalists will rally around him, all the First Amendment people, all the civil libertarians. A lot of blacks don't like him, but they'll rally around him too. Well, you know why? Because of the gay thing.
Yeah,
you know, and also they didn't see him as really one of, and also professional jealousy. But anyway, all that's out the window now. Don, did he pay Trump to do this? I was wondering. For a minute, I said, "What?" You know, Russ. Years ago, I got to tell this story. Years ago, there was a group, a little rump group called the Afro-American Association. They had a tiny little beat-up office over on Broadway. This is back in the '60s, on Broadway, off of back then it was Santa Barbara King. And I remember I was just getting started. I was coming out of high school in my activism. So I would go by the office, because I wanted to learn about things. I mean, it was all new to me. And I remember talking to the director there, old brother. And the Panthers at that time, they were getting raided. The FBI was raiding, they were having shootouts and everything, and they were in the news. Panthers are national, everywhere about the Panthers, And I remember this brother said one thing. He said, gee, I wish somebody would raid me. I wish somebody would raid me. What he was saying.
Yeah.
I never forgot that.
Yeah.
So now we come to Don Lemon. No, Earl thought that the other day.
Yeah.
But then it passed quickly.
Yeah.
I think we can figure out other ways. All right, we got other people. It's getting hot this morning, Russ. Bill Taylor. Many people approve of catching and deporting immigrants. People who jump the line but did not approve of. I got other people coming in. Lost that one. Okay, Bill Taylor. As to Don Lemon, can he be both a black man journalist hammered for political reasons and a celebrity running high on his own ego? Well, he's got both. But you know what? At that level, you got to have some ego.
Right.
Bill Taylor. Well, Paula Lathan. Ouch. Elmer, welcome. Let him try it in a black church. The deacons will usher him out. You know what? And that's true. Yeah. No, he would never get in the door.
Yeah.
All right, so I got you. I think we've kind of exhausted this. Russ, I'm going to drop a bombshell tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm not going to tip my hand. I'm going to tip my hand off the camera. And I'm going to show you because I want to get your opinion about it. I want everybody to about 10 o'clock tomorrow, I'll be at the I'm either at the Federal Building or the LAPD headquarters in front. I'm going to do something tomorrow that I think will get the tongues wagging, brain cells thinking, and a challenge, both to the feds and to LAPD Chief and the Commissioner, Jim McDonough. Something that crossed my eye, and actually it's something I've been curious about for a long time, trying to figure something out. So I'm not going to tip my hand tomorrow. I'm going to be taking it to the streets, either at the Federal Building or the police headquarters, LAPD, on a particular issue I've been bothered about for a long time, trying to get an answer to, and now it's been out there and continues to be out there. We saw it again with the Pretty killing. We saw it again with the Good killing, and a lot of other issues out there too. So, okay, stay tuned tomorrow. We'll be doing a Facebook live stream at 10 o'clock. Again, live, taking it to the streets. All right, Don Lemon, close out. Final thought from anyone. You're welcome to. This will be posted on my Facebook page. It'll be up for 1 week. Don Lemon, not going anywhere. Your thought. Why is he important? Your thought on that. You can post, comment, quip, whatever you want on that. And also, too, remember we have my book, The Ice Shooting Scorecard. All right, that's on Amazon, Middle Passage Press. Now, Russ, I look at this. You got Christy Nome, head of a government agency, walking around with an AK-47. Now, what kind of image is that now? Now, what message is that sending? I mean, to young folk out there.
With designer military clothes.
With designer military equipment. All right, my book. We talk about Nome and the rest. All right, again, it will be posted. Keep your comments coming. We love it. Hot Topic Sunday, boom, you know what? It's Sunday, boom, boom, boom. All right, once again, thanks for joining me, and I'm out of here.